What is up, guys? Welcome back to another GeekaWhat video, and in today's video we're going to be comparing an RTX 3070 gaming notebook to a full-fat desktop RTX 3070. In 2021, when GPUs are just so difficult to get hold of, could picking up a gaming laptop and having that form part of your setup actually be the best bang for your buck solution moving forward? Let's find out, shall we, after a quick word from today's video sponsor. Power up your next gaming PC with an AMD GPU and CPU for the ultimate Team Red gaming experience. With a great range of Gigabyte RX 6000 series graphics cards, like this range-topping 6900 XT available, you can play the biggest titles out there at the best frame rates. Combined with one of the latest Ryzen processors and a Gigabyte X570 motherboard, and unlock the power of smart access memory, allowing your GPU and CPU to work together like never before. Learn more and browse the range of Gigabyte motherboards and GPUs at the first link in the description below. Now, the notebook in particular we're going to be looking at is Lenovo's latest Legion 5. This comes equipped with an RTX 3070 and a Ryzen 7, making it one of the most exciting notebooks I think I've seen in a long time. The I/O is solid as well, with plenty of USB-A and C ports. You get Gigabit Ethernet on the back, so if you want to plug straight up to a router for, a LAN party or low latency gaming, you can do that as well. And although the laptop feels a bit more chunky than something like my own personal XPS 15, it is actually a little bit quieter than some other notebooks I've tried out, and does a good job of keeping the GPU nice and cool. Now, it's worth noting how GPUs and laptops actually work. While they do share the same chip as the desktop cards, like this RTX 3070 Tough card from Asus, the wattage they're able to run at is going to be restricted compared to their desktop counterparts. That's because in a full desktop package, you've got a big chunky power supply, you've got loads and loads of cooling, which allows the chip to run hotter, it can run with more power, while still staying pretty comfortable under load. With a laptop, there are sacrifices to be made, but if you can pick up an entire 3070 laptop for less than what a 3060 or 3060 Ti would cost you, then suddenly the performance dynamic gets a little bit more interesting. You can see we're running the GTA 5 gaming benchmark on the 165Hz display at around about 150 frames a second, which is impressive so far, but we have of course gone and tested some of the biggest games out there, so that we're not just running a benchmark mode and seeing what it looks like. GTA 5 is a prime example. We got 119 frames per second on average, which is quite a bit lower than a 3070 desktop card, which gave us 176. However, you compare this to a 3060 and the gulf gets way smaller. Impressive considering you can get basically a whole laptop for less than the price of a scalped 3060 on eBay. Something like Apex Legends is a similarly positive story. The 3070 desktop card gave us over 200 frames a second, while the laptop 3070 topped out at nearly 150. Now, while this 60 FPS gulf is quite significant, considering this display is 165Hz, that 150 FPS mark is not too bad, and that was of course tested at 1080p. Once again, you compare to something like a 3060 or 3060 Ti, and this laptop starts to look a hell of a lot more impressive. Given the fact that you do actually get a full-fat RTX chip in the notebook, despite the fact the power may be limited, something often referred to as max Q in the mobile GPU market, you do still get the full suite of NVIDIA features, meaning both ray tracing and DLSS are included and very much possible. This is something we found out when we tested the latest update of Call of Duty's Warzone, which does of course support DLSS 2.0. Here we got around 106 frames per second on our laptop RTX 3060 at 1080p high settings. There's still plenty of room to tune the settings down and increase that frame rate. This was just 23 FPS lower than the full-fat 3070 without DLSS enabled, meaning NVIDIA's resolution scaler could actually help to make a laptop like this one a whole lot more appealing. Here is where it gets interesting though. Fortnite at 1080p competitive settings. And here our RTX 3060, but also the really powerful Ryzen 7 processor came into its own. Our laptop RTX 3070 achieved 191 frames a second on average, just 15 frames per second, or around 8% lower than the desktop 3070 at exactly comparable settings, and actually a tiny bit higher than a full-fat desktop 3060 GPU. That's right, we got nearly 200 FPS at 1080p Fortnite competitive settings. That's really, really impressive. Cyberpunk is the next title, and this is where things get a little bit messy. Our laptop 3070 with DLSS enabled beat out a full-fat desktop 3060 Ti, while we were still able to achieve just under 60 frames per second with ray tracing enabled. Turn ray tracing off on our humble notebook, and we jumped up to 85 frames per second in Cyberpunk at 1080p. And of course, you don't need to game at more than 1080p when you've only got a 1080p laptop display. Don't underestimate the laptop though as part of a bigger gaming setup. Plug up to a more immersive 1080 or 1440p large display, add a couple of peripherals, and suddenly this thing turns into a great value alternative to a full-fat gaming PC. This is something we discovered in a recent video where we compared a 3060 notebook from MSI with a full-fat desktop 3060 from, you guessed it, MSI. Now, what are my takeaways from this? I'm someone who's team PC build, but actually, in a market where building and buying a gaming PC is just so tricky, a notebook could actually be the solution for you. Think about it. A 1080p 165Hz display will set you back at least $150. Some decent peripherals will be another $100 or so, and then you've got the price of the gaming PC, and you've got to find yourself an RTX 3060, 60 Ti, or 3070 as found in this laptop. Something that on eBay could cost you like $1,000 on its own. Use that money and buy a whole notebook instead. Now, of course, I would prefer that GPU stock was better and we didn't have to find these weird little workarounds, but what I'm trying to do on this channel is show you guys how you can still get your game on, still play your favorite PC titles in 2021 without getting ripped off. So don't discount a laptop so quick next time you're in the market for a new GPU. If you found this video useful, entertaining, insightful, who knows? Drop a like rating, get subscribed, and as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.